readers, it's the turn of the season and a good time for a reading checkpoint. Here's what we have to look forward to reading this fall, featuring my sister.
Hi, I'm Emily.
And I'm Sophia. So I guess I can kick it off and then we'll just kind of go book by book.
Yeah. Are we going in order? Like, I'm going to read these books in this order?
I don't think we have to.
Okay.
But if you want to, then you can. Cool. I'm a mood reader, and so I can't guarantee the order that I will read these books. So let's start with, I have just barely started the Stormlight Archive series in preparation for book 5 coming out this year. And so that is going to keep me quite busy this fall and into the beginning of winter.
So how many books is that?
That will be 5 when book 5 comes out. Well, unless we're counting all the novellas.
Are you going to read those too?
Yes. So, more.
And when do you anticipate you'll be done with all those?
Probably end of December, as long as I stay on track. But I've got to admit, I'm already behind because I was kind of anticipating being done with Way of Kings at the end of, August, and now we're a third the way through September. But a book club makes me read my personal books a little slower, so.
Okay, wait, so that series, that's your entire fall TBR?
No, we're going, book by book. I'm starting with, Stormlight Archive is going to be kind of, my first, thing. Then I was going to have you share one, and then I was going to share my next one.
But you said it would take you all fall to read that series.
Yes, my other books are my book club books and then my audiobooks.
Oh, so you're going to be reading other stuff mixed in. Okay.
Mixed in.
Because when you said you wouldn't finish that till the end of December, I was like, oh, that's the podcast. The end. That's Sophie's entire fall TBR.
I mean, pretty much. That is going to keep me very busy.
I was like, thanks for coming by, everyone. The end.
Yeah. All right, your turn, miss. No more delays.
Okay. So right now I'm in the middle of the Throne of Glass series. And, okay.
How far are you through that now? How many books you got left?
Yeah, so I'm in Empire of Storms. And so I think my first goal is to finish this series. So I gotta finish Empire of Storms, Tower of Dawn, and then Kingdom of Ash. And I'm hoping to be all done with those, within the next 3 weeks, probably. It's realistic. So I'd say that's first on my fall TBR, is finishing that. Excellent.
I'm not certain exactly what questions to ask because that's near the end of the series. And so,
oh yeah,
I'm trying to avoid, your questions were non-spoiler. Let's see. Do you have a favorite book so far?
Oh, that's so tough. Oh man, I have to say The Assassin's Blade. I think that one just ripped my heart out and ran it over with a bus 500 times.
That's the best, isn't it?
I finished that book and I was not the same. It took me a couple days to recover. And I still think about it daily. R.I.P.
past Emily.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, the old Emily can't come to the phone right now. Why? Because she's dead. Assassin's Blade killed her.
Yeah. But I didn't read The Assassin's Blade first. That
was going to be my next question.
Yeah.
Which order did you decide?
Yeah, so I did Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight, and then Assassin's Blade, so I did it third. And I liked that order. I guess it's kind of a Throne of Glass tangent, but if people care, I feel like you could read it first or third. I kind of see the benefits to either or. So, I feel like both reading experiences, would be good. So, yeah. I liked the order I read it in, and I felt like it was good. But yeah, The Assassin's Blade, really, the heart.
Getting a little ahead of myself, I do plan on reading that series, but it likely will not be until next year. And so I will probably follow your reading order, just so that we can be a little more on the same page when I'm discussing it.
Yeah. Okay, your next one?
All right, next one. This one, I'm cheating a little bit, keeping this in the list, but Frostbitten by Dietrich Stogner. I've technically finished that one already, but it's this month's book club book, and we haven't discussed the ending yet, so it's still like, and September is fall, so this was on my TBR, and book club hasn't discussed the ending yet, so I feel like it kind of is in a little gray area. And that was really great, so I'm super excited to talk about that book with book club. Since that one was cheating a little bit, do you mind if I do one more?
Sure.
All right. So I guess a true fall TBR book, also on the vein of book club, would be The Silent Patient. We've already chosen our next book, and so that is going to be The Silent Patient. So that one's a true fall TBR book.
Yeah, so I'm in book club too, but every once in a while I'll like opt out of a book because I'm like busy with other stuff. So I haven't read Frostbitten. I've already read Silent Patient, which is such a good book. I gave it 5 stars.
I would like to put out there that you suggested we do that book. We didn't pick it to exclude her. She's going to be coming to book club, and like she suggested it for book club. Yeah. And I assume you'll still be coming to the meetings that like you can when you're not,
well,
when
what I was gonna say is I wanted you guys to do this one now because I feel like I'm so consumed with like my personal TBR that sometimes I don't like being pulled away for like book club books, you know, and like delaying my personal TBR. So I wanted you guys to do The Silent Patient so I could still like participate, because I want to like come and listen to the discussions and talk about it, but then I also don't have to like read a book right now because I already read it. The other thing I was going to say is The Silent Patient is like such a good like October book club book. It's the perfect
spooky
vibes.
season.
yeah, it's the perfect book for that. So,
and I cannot wait. Emily has done such a good job getting me so excited to read it. And what else is fun is I know that that's a book that kind of blew up online, and so I know that there's going to be a bunch of reviews for us to watch and read afterwards to kind of like compare our reviews to make, but also reviews to. Did I say reviews to make?
No. I was just interjecting that we should make one.
Silent Patient too. We will. I plan on it. But one thing me and Emily both really like to do is when we finish a book, go and like read a bunch of reviews and see like if people felt the way we did, or if we're like, at least I read the reviews sometimes if I'm like struggling to like explain how I felt, or I'm trying to pinpoint what it was like threw me off about something, or trying to pinpoint like what exactly it was that made it hit so good. And I will read reviews to just try and help me collect my thoughts, and I'll be like, that's it. And so I'm so excited that there's going to be a ton of stuff around Silent Patient for me to just gobble up.
Yeah, I love reading reviews, particularly for books I didn't like.
It's so validating.
It makes me feel so validated. Like sometimes I read a book I didn't like, and I'm like, there's no way that like I'm the only one that like, you know, didn't like X, Y, and Z.
Oh, what's so crushing though is when you read a book you didn't like and you check the reviews and it's like, oh, I'm the problem.
Yeah, seriously. No, but it is fun to read the reviews.
I know there was one that I read that it had like an above 4-star average rating, and I gave it like 2.5 because just nothing stood out to me about it being special or like transgressive or anything, and I was just like, I was shocked.
You're like, what did I miss?
Yeah, I was like, why didn't I feel anything?
That's funny.
Anyway, let's see. That was The Silent Patient. We're stoked for it. You're going to be participating with it, but it's not really on your TBR. You've already read it. Yeah. So what's your next? Oh, yes. What?
I was going to say one more thing about The Silent Patient. You were talking about how it was like online a lot. And I feel like sometimes the books that get super hyped end up like falling short of expectations, you know? And when I read The Silent Patient, I was almost expecting it to fall short just because it had been so hyped. But I feel like it was one of the few books that actually lived up to my expectations, and I finished it and just like my jaw was on the floor. So I hope that you liked it as much as I did.
I bet I will.
And there's a lot to discuss, so it's a good book club book.
Yay, that's what I love. I know we've done a couple of thrillers for book club already, and they have been really good book club discussion books.
Yeah, I feel like thrillers are my favorite book club books, because sometimes when like you do a different genre, there's just not a lot to discuss. It's just kind of like,
Yeah.
These characters are chatting. It's like,
yeah, it's just
okay.
like, and there's magic, you know, like, but
Yeah.
with thrillers and mysteries and the thing, you know, the focus is very much on there is stuff to wonder about.
Yes.
Whereas sometimes, like, fantasy and stuff can kind of be like, it's more just vibes, it's more just intensity, it's more just like feelings. And so, yeah, there's less to dissect sometimes. Okay.
Okay. So my next fall TBR is I want to do the One Dark Window duology. It's just the two, right?
Yeah, it's just the two.
I don't know what the second one's called. What's it called?
Two Twisted Crowns.
Yeah. So I want to do those two. I did technically start One Dark Window a couple weeks ago. I like started the audiobook and I got to like chapter 5 and I was really enjoying it. Like I was really like hooked and invested, but sometimes I struggle with audiobooks because I'll just miss things because I'll be like multitasking or I'll like zone out for a second or I don't know. And I just kept feeling like I was missing bits and pieces here and there. So then I was getting confused, but it's like a book that I really care about and like want to pay close attention to. So I decided that I was just going to come back to it later when I could physically read it so that I could like give it my full attention. So I'm going to come back to that one after I finish the Throne of Glass series. So yeah, One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns is up next.
I'm so excited for Emily to read those because I read them and I loved them and I was like, this feels right up Emily's alley. And you kind of started one of them already. You kind of started One Dark Window already and had already said like, yes, this seems like something I would like, but had to press pause.
Yeah, I loved what I listened to. I thought it was so good. But yeah, I couldn't give it the attention that I wanted to. Like I knew that I would enjoy it more if I could physically read it. So yeah, I was telling Sophie earlier that I feel like it's actually a compliment when I when I choose not to audiobook something and I choose to physically read it, because I kind of purposely will choose my audiobooks as books that I don't care about as much, just because I just can't get as invested in audiobooks as I do physical books. So I kind of save my favorites or like my most anticipated reads for physical books, and then audiobooks are usually the books that I care less about or books that I know I don't have to pay as much attention to like understand. So like rom-coms I feel like make good audiobooks because they're just like really easy listens. I also like thrillers as audiobooks because
Same.
I don't know, they're so intense and like fast paced that I don't know. Every thriller I've audiobooked I really enjoyed. But I feel like fantasy, it just helps my brain compute when I can see the words on the page. You know, because there's a lot that's happening and a lot of like new vocab that I get lost when I audiobook fantasy. So anyway, that was a little audiobook tangent, but okay, what's next for you?
Well, I'm just going to say my last piece about audiobooks and One Dark Window, which is just that I audiobooked both books, One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns, and I loved the audiobook, specifically like the Nightmare's voice. It was, I loved it. And so I'm very glad I audiobooked it because I think it was just phenomenal. But I do agree that I probably would have been a little bit more invested and probably understood a little bit more if I had read it physically, because when I listen to an audiobook, I choose to listen to the audiobook because I don't have time to sit down and read, and so I'm going to be doing stuff while I'm listening. So I'm 100% with you that I get more out of it when I physically read.
I also feel like I remember it better when I
Yes.
physically read it. I've noticed
100%.
I've noticed that a lot of the books that I audiobooked, I have a really hard time remembering like specifics. I think that just has something to do with like when you look at it with your eyes, you just remember it more. I don't know.
I agree. Okay, yes, now we can move on to my next. I anticipate that I will be reading a TJ Klune book this year, or this fall, because I think that will be our like end of October, maybe beginning of November book club book, because we've thrown around the idea of reading a TJ Klune book, and it will probably be in the Lives of Puppets, because one of our members has already read House in the Cerulean Sea.
I'm not
House at the, I think,
I'm not sure.
Whatever the title is.
The
you know the
Cerulean
one.
Sea one.
Yeah. Everyone knows that one. And that's one we all really want to read, but, like, someone's already read it, and I just don't know how good of, like, reread value it would have for that person. Like, we've all just kind of been like, oh, yeah, we can do a different one because he's written other books. And so I'm going to be suggesting In the Lives of Puppets, because as far as I'm aware, that one is a standalone, and it's one I already own, so that would be kind of nice to read a book for book club that I already own, so I don't need to go out and buy it. And then I think it's got an interesting concept that it's kind of a Pinocchio inspired, or Pinocchio like retelling, in, I believe it's futuristic, and it has to do more with like robots than puppets, and I find that really interesting. And I believe that the concept for it is that Pinocchio is actually a human being raised by robots instead of like a puppet being raised by a person. I could be remembering that wrong, but that's kind of like the vibes that I was getting. It's been a minute since I've looked at the summary again, but that's what I'm really excited about. And so I anticipate that being a book club book this fall.
What did you say it was called?
In the Lives of Puppets.
Okay, nice. That's cool.
I got the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition with the like gears on the sides. It's so cool and like vibey, and I love like the shade of green they picked. It's kind of creepy, and so I'm really interested to see like how atmospheric it is when we
sounds
read
like
it.
a good fall one.
Yeah.
Fall vibes. Okay, sweet.
Your turn.
The next one? Okay. You can tell I'm in my like fantasy era.
Yes.
Because next I want to do Divine Rivals. That one's a duology too, I believe.
I believe so.
I don't know if there's more books coming out. I'm not really sure. But I've been interested in that one like since the first time I heard about it, which was like a long time ago. But, you know, my TBR is just so long and it just takes a while to get to everything. But I'm finally ready to dive into that one next. So yeah, that duology will be after One Dark Window. Yeah.
That's one I'm interested in reading as well, but it's not quite as high up on my TBR, just because that one is a little more heavy on the romance, right?
I honestly don't really know, because, you know me, I prefer to know, like, close to nothing about books before I start them. I just kind of go off of vibes and people's, like, recommendations, and then, like, the general genre, you know?
Yeah.
So I honestly don't really know much about it. I just know I've seen a lot of people talking about it. It looks interesting. So I'm going to give it a shot.
I do plan on eventually reading that one, but
I'll let you know
from
what
my you'll vet it for me. Let me know if it's something I would enjoy.
Yeah.
That's the great thing about having to read her sister.
That's true.
And what else is fun is like we generally like Emily's in her fantasy, her romantasy era, but you've mostly read romance, and so I don't read as much of that, and so it's kind of fun because she can vet those for me. So when I feel like venturing out into the romance genre, she can tell me, oh, this is one that I think would be more your style, and then I know I'm gonna like it. And she's been right.
Well, and the same with you and like fantasy is I feel like by this point you have a pretty good idea of what books I would like. So
a couple of mine have been misses. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. But we're getting a better taste of each other's tastes. So yeah, I feel like our recs for each other are getting better. So
yeah, I agree.
I only have one more left on my
okay, I've just got two, so we're right on. So my turn? Are you done with Divine Rivals? Okay. I will soon be listening/reading Can't Spell Treason Without Tea, because literally just earlier today, my library finally got the audiobook and I borrowed it. So now I have the audiobook for a couple of weeks, but I also own the physical book. And so we'll start listening to the audiobook just because that means I can read it sooner, because then I can read it while I do stuff. But if I end up not adoring the audiobook, or like if I end up not being able to read it quick enough or whatever, then I'll read the physical book. So I didn't anticipate the audiobook coming in so quickly. And so I thought that was going to be a next year book.
Well, that's perfect.
But yeah, it is. I cannot wait.
Mm-hmm.
That's another one of those cozy fantasy ones, and I follow the author on TikTok and stuff, and she just seems so awesome. And I've only heard good things about Can't Spell Treason Without Tea, and I have been wanting to read more like lesbian romance and stuff, and just kind of explore that. And now I will be.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited that came in sooner than expected.
I remember when you bought that one and you were so excited.
I was.
It just looks so cozy. And when I think of like fall reading, I just think of all the cozy vibes. Like I want to curl up on a couch with like the fire on and it's like cloudy outside and you read like a cozy book. And
you know what's so funny is I'm not like a seasonal reader. I've never picked up a book because I'm like, yes, it is October and I want a spooky fall book, you know? But what's funny is my list just kind of has done that. Like, because, like, Frostbitten, fantasy horror, Silent Patient, thriller, right? TJ Klune, like, you know, the kind of green makes it seem kind of like spooky atmosphere, you know, it's, I anticipate that one being more dark than cozy, which also kind of fits fall. Then Can't Spell Treason Without Tea, cozy, you know, which fitting for fall. So it's just kind of funny that my list, like, I'm not a seasonal reader, but my list is like lining up with the seasonal vibes. So I thought that was kind of funny. Yeah, I am so excited to read Can't Spell Treason Without Tea. And
okay, me next?
Yep.
Okay, so once again, another fantasy, another fantasy series. Daughter of a Pirate King. I've had my eye on this one for a really long time too, and I bought the first book a while ago actually. But yeah, I've just had so many other books that I was reading. So I'm really excited to finally get to that one. I think it's a trilogy. I don't know.
I think so as well.
Yeah.
I think so as well.
So, yeah.
I believe it's complete.
I think, like, kind of my goal is to finish this fall TBR, like, by the end of November.
End of fall.
Yeah, exactly. So, I'm hoping that, like, all these books I've picked out will kind of, like, line up to get me to finish these, like, right at the end of November. That's kind of the goal.
I bet you'll get there. You're flying through those Throne of Glass books.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe I'll
go
even faster, and then I'll be able to move on to some of my other stuff, too. But, yeah, Daughter of a Pirate King is also on the fall TBR. So, I'm very much in my, like, fantasy series
Which
era.
is my dream come true for her.
Yeah, I definitely used to read a lot more romance, but I don't know. Romance has been, like, boring me a little bit more lately.
I know. It feels so vanilla now, huh?
Yeah, well, I just feel like once you get into fantasy, it's just, like, so exciting and, like, just anything can happen.
The world is opened to you.
Yeah, but then, like, basic romance, I still enjoy them and I still read them, but more so as, like, palate cleansers, you know? Because they're not as intense, they're just, like, easier reads, but, like... I still enjoy them, but it's just funny because I never really thought that I would love fantasy as much as I do. But here I am.
Yep. And I'm loving it.
Yeah, I'm loving it too.
All right. My last on my planned fall TBR is going to be Radium Girls. And that one, I believe, is a nonfiction... I don't think historical fiction. I believe it's nonfiction. It better be, because the reason why I'm reading it is to be this month's nonfiction book. Because part of my reading goal for this year is for each month to read a nonfiction book. And I have a really hard time sitting down and physically reading nonfiction, so I have been audiobooking all of my nonfictions for this year. So I've got Radium Girls already checked out from Libby, and I'll be listening to that soon. That'll probably be my next audiobook that I listen to, because that one's gonna be returned soonest. I've technically already read one nonfiction this month, but I read it 4 last month because I kind of goofed on my goal and did not read a nonfiction book last month.
You cheater.
I know. So I'm cheating and reading 2 this month. And at the beginning of the year, I was like, I'm not going to cheat. I'm going to have to stick with this. I can't do like 2 in 1 month. They count it for the others. Like if I read 2 in a month, the next month I still have to read 1 or whatever. Well, I broke the goal, but like I still want to read at least 12 nonfiction books. So, we'll kind of half achieve that part of the goal, and I will still be happy with myself because
I feel like
I just enjoy reading. I don't want there to really be any pressure.
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel like reading
it's a good stretch goal still for me.
Yeah, I feel like reading can lose the fun when you start to like apply too much pressure to yourself. Like, I don't know. I like reading because it's the thing that I do. It's the relaxing activity I have in my life. You know, I feel like I get stressed about so many other things that I don't want to start applying stress to reading. You know, reading's like, I'm going to read at the pace I want. I'm going to read what books I want. I'm not going to like, you know, kill myself over my goals. Like, this is what I do for fun. It is my peace in my day. So yeah, like, you can break your own rules because who cares?
Yeah, because I made them.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to read all of these. And I'll probably end up reading... Well, I don't know. I've been slowing down a little bit in my reading. I was about to say, like, I'll probably end up reading more than these this fall, which may be true depending on how quickly I get through my audiobooks and if I decide to... And if I, like, start a project that I need an audiobook to listen to during. But I've been really slowing down. I started off really strong. I think at most I read like 11 or 13 books a month once this year.
That's crazy.
And now I'm down to like 6 or 8 and like I'm just slowing way down.
I've also slowed down.
That might really be all I read for this fall.
Yeah, I've also slowed down because earlier in the year I was doing a bunch of audiobooks, but then I just got kind of like overwhelmed, you know? I was just like bouncing from audiobook to audiobook to audiobook, and I was just like, okay, I don't feel like I'm actually like retaining anything I'm listening to. Like, I don't know. So I've kind of taken a step back on the audiobooks. I'm sure I'll listen to some this fall, but it'll just kind of be like, what's available? What do I come across? Like,
or when do your holds come in?
Yeah, or like
you've got one more on your list, Normal People by Sally Rooney.
Yeah,
you've got that audiobook borrowed.
Yeah, that one came in on Libby, so I'll probably listen to that one. I wouldn't say it's like super high on like my list, but like, I don't know, I like to have an audiobook here and there, and that one had a short wait time, so it's like, okay. So yeah, I'll probably do that one, and then I'm sure I'll listen to another one here or there, just kind of depending on what I'm in the mood for. So the audiobooks are to be determined.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I think that's a pretty good summary of what we have going forward for us.
Yeah, I think so too.
And then we should do at the end of fall a little reflective and see, like, did we actually follow our plans?
Yeah.
Because I remember when I first made my list for what I wanted to read this year for my, like, 100 books this year goal, I made a list, and I have gone all over the place on that list and not stuck to it, like, at all. And I still have, like, 60 books on that list that I did not get to, and I've read 83 so far. Yeah. And so, and I've read so many that were not on my TBR. I blame audiobooks for that. That's a discussion for another time.
To me, I feel like half the fun of reading is picking what I'm going to read as I go.
Yes.
Like, I don't really want to plan out, like, my whole... Even planning out the fall a little bit. It's kind of like, well, I'm going to go with the flow. Maybe I'll change my mind. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I feel like half the fun is when I finish a book, I look at my shelf and I'm like, what am I in the mood for? What do I want to read next? And it's fun. It's exciting.
Yay for being mood readers.
Yeah. So obviously I have my fall TBR that I think I'm gonna follow it, because these are series that have been very high on my list for a while, and I'm sick of having to avoid spoilers. So I'm ready to read them so that I can watch all the videos and stuff. But
yeah, no kidding. That's why certain books have moved up my TBR and why I've like read them earlier than I would have, because of the exact same thing, the trying to avoid spoilers or even wanting to like be part of the conversation or just know what everyone's talking about and have my own opinion and stuff.
Well,
so.
That's why I read Fourth Wing when I did.
Me too.
Because originally I was like, well, I think I want to wait until, like, more books are out. Like, I don't really like the idea of having to wait, like, a year between every book. But then I was like, it's going to get spoiled for me. If I don't read it now, it's going to get spoiled. So, yeah. So I hopped on that train.
I know. Me too. I actually read it before you, which shocks me.
Well, that was part of what got me to do it finally. Because
then we could talk about it.
Yeah.
I read it because everyone was, like, going off about Iron Flame. And I was like, is this actually, like, are people over-exaggerating? Is it whatever? And so I decided to listen to the books and see what I thought. And, you know, they were very entertaining.
Yeah, it was very entertaining.
Alrighty. I think that wraps us up pretty good. Any other final thoughts?
No, I like your idea. Maybe we can do, like, a winter TBR, and then in that same episode we can, like, recap.
Do a retrospective or something.
We can recap the fall.
Yeah. I don't know. I might want to do a retrospective. Well, actually, no. Those would fit pretty together.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah. See, we're mood readers, and I guess mood videoers. So,
yes.
All right. Well, happy reading, everybody. Signing off.